Our lives look completely different than they did just a year and a half ago. We went from living in the city, commuting over an hour every day, working inside, and hardly being together, to living in rural Thailand, where we spend most of our time learning how to live simply, in connection with ourselves and our environment. And while we live pretty simply here, it's not quite this simple. That's a little better. Cheers. There will always be some people that won't understand why we chose to leave everything and live this kind of lifestyle, but I think there are far more people that connect to what we're doing here on some level.
So as we thought about it more, we wanted to share with you guys the 4 main reasons why we choose to live a simple life. And later on in the video, we're going to share how that's impacting our plans for the future and the challenge ahead of us.
Living in Canada during the pandemic was an incredibly difficult time for everyone.
I think that's when how broken our systems are became just really clear to us.
Just witnessing the chaos as so many people lost their jobs and their homes and even their loved ones, as the government seemed to take unprecedented control over people's lives, and there was clearly political manipulation just right in front of everybody. And watching the media try so hard to divide people and stoke an already burning fire, we realized we felt powerless in so many ways over our own lives. We seemed to have so little control over our time, over our ability to be with family and friends, over the food that we eat. And then there was just the looming pressure of this economy that was worsening, that was just pushing people to work even harder and longer. Going through all these moments reminded me of a dream that I used to have, to live more of a simple life, to be fully sustainable, and to simplify things back down to the basics, to discover what truly matters to us, to live in a way that can move beyond the current systems that we exist in, the systems that we choose for ourselves, and also the ones that we participate in without even knowing.
There's so little!
I think most of us were born into these systems of government and economics that we don't really agree with, and I think it's very clear to a lot of us that things are spiraling out of control. They're getting worse. So it just made sense during that time to look at what does it mean to exit, and what does it mean to be self-sustainable, and is that even possible? I think ultimately we are free and sovereign individuals, and we wanted to find a place that we felt that we could live in that way. And if we didn't find it already, then we needed to create it. And we also needed to gain the skills and the knowledge that we needed to do that.
I think a big reason for me wanting to simplify our life and detach from the system was also just a desire to obtain more knowledge and practical skills that I really feel are being lost in this generation, in this modern world that is very dependent on technology. There's so many things that we just don't know how to do anymore. Over this past year, I've learned how to make biochar so that we can filter our own water, how to save seeds and grow vegetables.
How to build a house.
There's so many things that are just very basic to your survival as a human that we just don't know how to do in modern society. And when I think about the future generations, I want my children or my great-grandchildren to be equipped with those skills. But if I myself am not equipped with them, how can I expect future generations to be? So simplifying our life and learning the things that are just basic to our survival and reality as humans is a huge part of why we're living like this, what we're really trying to do.
Even something as simple as saving seeds, which is what we're doing right now, is actually teaching us a lot about the way that the world works. One of these little seeds will grow a cowpea for us that will grow us, 10 more of these pods that have 20 seeds each. So there's proliferation and abundance built into nature. And without the skills and knowledge of those things, we can't tap into them. And I think that's something that our generation and younger, we're losing. We're losing quickly. So it's incredibly important, because the more we lose this knowledge and these skills, the more we actually lose our connection with our own humanity.
Oh, look at that little frog. Do you see him? Living a simple life has connected me so much more to being human. In modern society, you are so inundated with technology and with everything being digital and manufactured. I think our attachment to the digital world and technology is really actually pretty frightening when you look at it and analyze it for yourself in your own being. And it's ultimately leading us astray from, I think, just ourselves as humans.
We're only spending more time on it and getting more immersed in this digital world. And I think the more we do that, the more we actually forget that we are human and we're not inherently part of a digital world, we're part of nature. I think we already believe that we are separate from nature, that we are not an animal, that we are above it, that we don't have to work with it. We can actually manipulate it, exploit it, control it, and make boundaries between us and it. I think it's very clear that if we look deeper, we know that we should be a part of nature, that we should be outside, connected with it and learning from it. We should be moving our bodies and getting sunlight. We should be connecting with our friends in real life, not on a digital plane. And I think what makes us most unique as humans is that we actually have the ability to make nature better and steward it and become not only a part of it, but the leader of it. Syntropic farming, which I'm just learning about right now, which is a way to actually essentially build a forest the way that nature would over hundreds of years, but except with our human intervention, we can help it do it in 30 to 40 years. There's things like that that we could be doing with this world. When we have this great disparity between the way that we currently live and the way our ancestors used to live, the more we're actually seeing the negative impacts of it in our lives. Our physical health, our mental health, and our spiritual health are all in decline all across the world. Now, I think it's obviously a little ironic that we are talking to you through a computer right now, but I don't think technology is necessarily the enemy, and it can be used in a way which actually benefits us.
Like, ultimately, technology is a tool for us to use, but nowadays it's so easy for that tool to use us and manipulate us, knowingly and unknowingly. Technology can offer so many opportunities for connection and for creativity and business and economics and so many things. We're using these videos and technology ultimately as a form of creativity and self-expression. And even though that's really challenging at times, it's also rewarding. It's helping us realize some things about ourselves and clarifying our own thoughts and our beliefs.
Maybe the last reason we wanted to do this was just to learn more about ourselves. When you live in the city, you're so surrounded by noise and busyness, and there's a rush about everything. It really prevents you, I think intentionally, from diving inward and figuring out who you really are and what you want to do in life. What is the passion that you have? What are the dreams that you have? How can you contribute to this world in a unique way?
I think living in the city and living conventionally, there's so many things that are always telling you what to think, what to do, what to buy, what to want. And so when we have removed ourselves from that, I think my experience is that it's really forcing me to actually think about, okay, what do I think? What do I actually want when I'm not having a million voices always trying to tell me that?
I think one of the things that stripping away all of that and living simply has done for me is make me realize that I don't value security as much as I thought that I did. Security has its purpose and its reason, and it makes you feel good. I feel like I place that value higher than many other things in my life. And I don't think that actually came from me. I think that came from a system that wants to tell you that you need to prepare, that you need to secure your job, secure your retirement, secure everything you have against other people.
Because it's largely driven by fear.
Yeah, it's an instilling of fear that you won't have enough, a scarcity mindset. And I think being here has made me realize that I actually value spontaneity and following my passion and my dream more than I value security. And many choices that I've made in my life, many of the best choices that I've made in my life have come from acting in opposition to security, taking a risk and doing something. So yeah, I think that's one point that has been clarified in my life, just living the way we are right now.
I think one of the values that has become more clear to me since living this lifestyle is how important an integral community is. I think, again, largely our society is like so individualistic and consumeristic. People are very focused on like building up their own little kingdom. And I think especially living in community in Pun Pun and even here being part of like a bigger community is making me realize that I don't want to just build up my own little kingdom. I want to actually make something that I can invite other people into.
Share.
And share and just like actually create something that fosters and generates more community and more connection, more real connection between people. I was just so burnt out.
Yeah, I feel like Western living really takes out of you is energy. You spend all day dedicated to somebody else's climb, and you forget about yours. Which I think leads us to our last point of this video is we're kind of thinking, what is next for us? What does the future hold? The year and a half we've spent here has been amazing, and we've learned so much. But I think we're starting to get to the point where we're ready to do something else, to do the next thing.
I think about who I was before coming to Thailand. I feel, really proud of like what we've done and how we've changed personally. But there is a question of, like what's next? Because this isn't going to be our home forever. And just thinking about how we're going to use everything that we have learned over this past year to bring us into the future and bring us closer towards our personal dream.
So the next stage for us is probably looking at how we can get land of our own and start building something more permanent. This place is one that we rent and we can do a lot to it, but ultimately we'll never own it. We won't be here forever. So we're really starting to think about where do we want to build something long term and how do we do that? So I think the next stages of our journey for us is actually just finding a place where we can buy some land and start building something more permanent. We don't know how that's going to happen yet or when that's going to happen, but that is where we're shifting our focus now. And it's really exciting just to think about potentially building our dream, building what we envisioned when we first came here. I'm sure it's going to look nothing like we envisioned or dreamed, but we're super excited to have that as sort of the next thing that we focus on. And I hope that gets you guys really excited to follow our channel and subscribe, because that's where our journey is ultimately headed. And that was the whole reason we started this channel in the first place.
I hope this video illuminated some things for you guys, and please let us know what your reasons are for living a simple life, or what would motivate you to make a lifestyle change and simplify things. It doesn't have to be moving countries and moving to rural Thailand either. I think there's ways that we can consciously make that choice to simplify our lives as well, even when we're living in the city, even if we're working regular conventional jobs.
And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're going to like this one as well. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.